Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. I'm all new to this, so I'm hoping to both learn and educate at the same time. A lot of what I'm planning involves things like video games, politics, and a devotional channel where I will read a random selection from the Bible and talk about it, or maybe I'll get a devotional and read from it daily. My family reads from the upper room, so I'll try and find a different one as to not to double up and read the same one twice. Since this is an introductory video with video game footage being played in the background, I just thought I would tell you a little bit about myself in hopes that you will have seen other videos of mine and would have found your way here. First things first, I'm 32 years old, and I was adopted at the age of 6 months. Yes, that does make me biasly pro-life. I just found out this year that what my last name was, and I got in contact with my foster mother. I found out that DHS took me away from my mother after learning that I was malnourished and that there were signs of abuse. I've been a lover of music before I could remember. The first song I could ever remember hearing was Rhythm of My Heart by Rod Stewart. I was told that I would cry when it went off the air, and my folks had to get the Vagabond Heart on cassette tape so that I would quit crying. I started taking piano lessons at the age of 4, and I took them for 14 years. About the only thing I can really tell you is that all I got out of them was learning how to read music. I don't need to hear a song to know what the writer is trying to say. I can just read it. I sang at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. for former President Bill Clinton. I can also play handbells, tenor saxophone, guitar, bass. I sing, and I've played every instrument from a soprano piccolo to a didgeridoo. I am living proof of quality over quantity. I play a lot of video games. In the background, you see some games that I play on a regular basis. The reason why you are seeing trailers for RDR2 is because I don't have a capture card. I'm a member of the quote-unquote PC Master Race, even though it was started as a joke. My profile picture is my current PC with dual liquid cooling loops on my GTX 1080 Ti's, and then one on my i7 1770K CPU. I have several YouTube heroes that I would like to mention: Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Milo Yiannopoulos, Top Hats and Champagne, who unfortunately has lost his channel, and I miss watching his content every day. Rags, Bulletberry, Fratanga Plays, InfoWars, Drunken Uncle, Sargon of Akkad, Sinatra Says, Jesse Lee Peterson, John Ward, Simon Dan, Fight the Flat Earth, Conspiracy Cats, also known as Baldy Cats, and I can't believe I almost forgot Count Dankula and the Creaky Blinder. And there are several others. Links to their channels will be in the description. Now the stuff that is likely to make my channel a reenactment of the Challenger space shuttle disaster. I am a white, cisgender, right-wing Christian conservative. I do not fall into any victim categories, save that I am an insulin-dependent type 1 diabetic, which means that my pancreas does not make insulin, the hormone that turns carbohydrates into energy. And what I just read to you was something that I put together, I don't know how long ago. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. I was going to do it with my friends listening, but I'd since I gotten out of contact with them. I met them through StarCraft 2, which is probably the footage that you're seeing now. I play StarCraft 2 a lot. I've been playing StarCraft since March 31st of 1998. My birthday is March 30th, and so I had to wait an extra day in order to get it that year for Christmas. The game was released on March 31st, 1998. Originally released. Since then, they've remade it. And and came out with a sequel, and I'm hoping they'll shortly announce a third. I saw one YouTube channel say something about a first-person shooter version of StarCraft, which I think would be awesome. Like, I can't imagine what it would be like to actually be in first-person view mode of one of the Marines during the invasion of the Zerg on Tarsonis, or perhaps a Protoss at the battle for Aiur, or the escape of Aiur, or a Zergling tasked with capturing Sarah Kerrigan. I followed that story for a long time. A long time. When I first started playing it, I had just gotten into the real-time strategy genre, and I wasn't real sure of myself. I found it rather hard, because I didn't quite understand the mechanics, like how to protect your base when your opponent can generate 20 or 30 Marines before you can even get one Zealot out of your gateway, or something like that. So I wasn't very good when I first started, but after I slowly started learning and getting used to it and getting used to the idea and things like that, I slowly came to like the game. I don't play multiplayer that much, save the new co-op mode that was released with Legacy of the Void. Any updates or anything like that, like new co-op commanders or anything like that, I get them as soon as they come out. So they typically cost about $5. And I really get into it. It's a game that I can play at any time, for any reason, in any location, in any situation. I can pick that game up. I love all sorts of RTS. I do not know why the Total War series is an RTS, save for the battle sequences. I first started playing Total War when the first Total War Rome came out. Ever since then, I purchased all of them up until this point. And I also really love the tactics games, like tactics strategy games, like let's see, XCOM. I love the new XCOM series. I have the old ones, but I can't quite figure out how to play it. You get this sphere, Earth, and apparently you're supposed to scan like you do in the new ones, but I have yet to figure out how to do that. If anybody has any tips or pointers or videos, you can link them down in the comment section. I plan on looking at those on a regular basis. I know there's been a lot of controversy lately over the YouTube algorithm and things like that. I have no milestones that I wish to reach. If I get 5 subscribers or end up somewhere in the neighborhood of PewDiePie, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm doing this as a form of therapy. My mother just recently had to have a total knee replacement, so that's why I'm trying to get into this. And I really like editing videos. I went to film school in Los Angeles and learned about the entire process, from pre-production to post-production, everything in between. I learned how to do everything behind the camera, and then I learned how to do everything in front of the camera. I've been told by Carly Roethlisberger, you can look her up. She's a voice actress. Last I heard, she is the voice of the California Cow. But she's the one that got me interested in voiceover, and one day I actually got to work with the voice from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, Raphael. He also played Yakko in the Animaniacs. He's played in several episodes of Scooby-Doo. And he really helped me understand why things are the way they are. I don't know if you can tell from the sound of my voice or anything like that, but I'm from the Bible Belt. I'm from the Deep South. I was born in South Georgia. I was adopted out of Atlanta, Georgia. Since then, I've lived in North Carolina, West Virginia, Alabama, which is where I currently reside. I went away to college to Los Angeles, California, and then moved to New York. And New York is where I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back in 2008. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm an open book. I find that to be a really redeeming quality because I have a lot of things from my past that I think would be very valuable to someone. I did cocaine for 7 years, and I've been clean for 7 years. Actually, 7 years and 3 months, now that I'm looking at the date. As the date of this recording is June 16th, 2019. And I couldn't be happier. The only thing that I wish I didn't have to do was lose the friends in the process. If you are a kid, if you are a young kid, and you think that the adults are just trying to control you way too much or things like that, they know what they're talking about. Don't just stay away from any drug, whether it be the painkillers that your doctor prescribes you, unless you are in serious pain, like my mother is after her surgery. She was in serious pain, so she has painkillers. Unless you're in that type of situation, don't take them. Don't take them recreationally. Don't take them even if because of my mother's knee issue, she can't get around and do some of the things that she wants to do. So I've pretty much been homebound, helping her do some of the things that she needs to do, and being around the house, things like that. I've had to stay here at home with her through her recovery, because she ended up back in the hospital shortly after her knee replacement surgery. She ended up having blood clots, and they thought there might be something wrong with her heart, but she's fine. She's been at home for over 2 weeks now, and she's doing really well. So I'm hoping to grow the channel just like everybody else does. I'm hoping that at some point in time I can do this on a regular basis. This is the first chance I've had to really do this. Today is, like I said, today is June 16th of 2019. It is 11:16 in the morning. And yes, it is Father's Day. Thank you to those fathers who do more than what's expected of them with their children. And I hope this reaches a pretty large audience. I'm really excited to get started and do my first video. Haven't really decided what to do my first video on, but I love the video edit. That was one of my favorite post-production processes, was editing. My first film project, if I can find the disc, I'll upload it too. But just to let you know how much I really enjoy working on working on cameras and things like that, working on film and things like that. The first assignment in film class that I ever had to do was we had to shoot it all on a tripod, and we had 6 shots, 12 cuts, and 10 lines between partners, and the partners of 2. We had 3 weeks to write it and submit it, and I did mine in 4 hours. As a matter of fact, my partner came to my apartment at the time, ready to work on it, and I had already written it. And he was shocked because I'm not the best student in the world. I don't do real well in school. And he was shocked that I had actually gotten it done, like in 4 hours, as opposed to the 3 weeks that was required. So by the next week, I had we had to do storyboards. We had to do of shot composition, cuts. We had to have music selection. We had to have audio selection. We had to have a script written, and I had all that done, and I was able to hand that in the next week. You can look up my film teacher's IMDb page. I may find it and link it in the description. His name is Todd Patrick Devereaux. We all called him Todd. And he loved the technical stuff, the hard technical stuff. Like, he had all the gear that was required to shoot just about anything you could think of. He had camera cranes. He had Steadicam rigs, which, if you don't know, it's a chassis that a cameraman will wear. I may do some film technique videos in which I will show you some of the cool techniques and why they do them, and what sort of sets the stage, and I will even sort of go into some of the rules. A lot of people know that there's what's called the rule of thirds, which is things are always prettier in threes. If you know the science behind it and you've seen a video describing that, I would love to see it, but I have not seen one. But things are always better in threes, so you learn to, like, shoot a corner. A corner is better than a plain wall. And if the wall is if you do shoot on a plain wall, you need to have at least 3 items on that wall to cover it. It makes the shot more interesting. And there's also a rule called don't cross the line. The line. A lot of people, I've heard it described as don't break the fourth wall, and this is not the same. The breaking the fourth wall is a lot like it's just the character talking to you, you as a viewer or an audience member. It's used in stage often to refer to the fourth wall, as in there are 3 walls that are visible on the stage, but there is no fourth wall visible, and you break that fourth wall. So an actor will talk to the audience or something like that. Often like a magician sets up a magic trick, which I'm excited to get into. I've been doing research on certain things. I live in the Rocket City, and one of our things that we have, one of the things we're known for is Marshall Space Flight Center, which is where Dr. Wernher von Braun came with the defectors from Germany and helped us design our rocket program. And he was one of the lead engineers on the V2 rocket under penalty of death. And one of the more interesting things is that Dr. Wernher von Braun was a Christian himself. I have also gotten into the whole flat Earth conspiracy. No, I am not a flat earther. No, there is nothing in the Bible that says anything, and I mean anything, about a flat Earth. There is nothing. People, I plan on doing a video on this too, because I talked to a YouTuber by the name of Fight the Flat Earth, and he's anxious, and he himself mentioned his enthusiasm for me going after this one guy. I can't remember his name. Simon Dan did a video on him, and it shows this guy walking into a Target superstore, finding a child's astronomy book, and then ripping it to shreds, and then purchasing said book. And when confronted, he was confronted by the store staff over aggression concerns. And he assured them that he meant no ill will toward them, just the book company, and he took the time to, I guess, advertise his web page, which he says there are over 270 verses in the Bible that suggest that the Earth is flat. I'm sorry. This is one of those things that really bothers me when they start taking the Bible out of context and using it as a weapon. Now, I'm always up for debate. I'm always up for a debate. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Anyone tries to dox me, I will tell you. I carry a single action 357 Magnum on my hip at all times. I have a semi-automatic 12-gauge shotgun. I have a side-by-side 12-gauge shotgun, and a lever action Henry. The reason why I have the single action, the lever action, and the side-by-side is because I shoot in a competition that shoots once a month, the first Sunday of every month, called SAS, SASS, or Shooters Single Action Shooting Society. And you can go to their website. That'll also be linked down to the description below. You can find a local shooting if you're interested in that sort of thing and you like cowboys and things like that. Like cowboy movies. I'll also be doing movie reviews as well. I plan to anyway. They have shooting going on. They have ranges where they shoot lead. It all has to be lead because they're shooting at a steel target. You can't use full metal jackets because there's always a chance that it'll ricochet. And just in case you didn't know, a full metal jacket, I will do a tutorial on this as well, showing you my guns and the guns that I use. Because it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Everybody is really nice. You get to dress up as your favorite action hero, as your favorite cowboy action hero. There's another group called Cowboy Action Shooting, CAS, which follows different rules, I believe. I believe they follow different rules than the Single Action Shooter Society. But I originally got into cowboy action shooting because I wanted to learn how to fan. Now, in case you didn't know what fanning is, it's the process at which the trigger is held down, and the shooter will hammer, will hit the hammer, in which it causes the cylinder to move, the cylinder to rotate to the next chamber, and the hammer will fall on the next round. That's the reason why I use a Ruger Nuva-Caro, because they're built to be run over by tanks. They're that strong. They're made out of pure steel. They're devil to clean. I may have some tutorials on and show you how I do that as well. But mine's stainless. If you ever get into it, I strongly recommend stainless, and stainless steel is what was recommended to me, because if you get out there in the summer months and you start sweating a lot, the blued steel or the black metal, the black metal that you commonly see, if too much sweat gets on those, they rust, and that causes you more problems than necessary. Really, I'm actually looking to get a stainless steel side by side as well. Basically you can find the handbook on the webpage, which I'll link also. It tells you what guns are allowed, what processes are allowed, and how to load. And there's a specific way to load. The original gun that was used back in the Old West was the Colt 45, and the bullet that went in it was called the Colt 45. And it's just in my opinion, if you took a 45 ACP round, which is what's typically fired out of a gun like, say, a 1911, that's 45 ACP, or automatic Colt pistol. Then and you elongate it, you make it a Magnum round. That's what a Colt 45 looks like to me. There's actually an indention where the bullet goes that much resembles a 44 or 357 Magnum round. And the indention is on the jacket, on the brass jacket. And I use brass as well because typically, since you shoot about 100 pistol rounds, and it could be anywhere from 20 to 50 shotgun shells. A lot of people choose to reload theirs. Now, I just got started, so I use factory ammunition. So mine are typically 125 grain, and I use 38s because they're cheaper. I'll have a price breakdown at some point if anybody's actually interested in that. But like I said, I'm always up for a debate over just about anything. And I will give you a tip if you ever decide to step up to the plate. When debating me, I don't care what the topic is. When debating me, the way you beat me is you do not use Scripture. Because I treat Scripture as a trump card. In other words, I don't use it unless it is the actual topic of discussion. Like, say we're discussing the resurrection. I will, or let's take one that I can know right off the top of my head. Unless we're talking about the virgin birth, I will, if I'm introducing the debate, I will use Luke chapter 2, as a reference point. In other words, I would say that we're talking about the virgin birth, and this is the Christmas story, Luke 2. I'd read it, and then that's it. And then I would never bring up Scripture unless my opponent brings it up. And once you do that, you have already signed your death warrant, because I will crucify you. And that the pun is intended. Because I don't like when people take it out of context. I'll point it out. I don't like misinformation, which is why I follow people like Top Hats and Champagne, Rags, Bulletberry, Fratanga Plays, all those guys. That's the reason why I follow them, because they're all PC players. And they'll tell you themselves that the only reason why they do what they do, They don't care what platform you play on. They don't care what video game platform you decide you want to play on. Now, I will say that I have a computer that I built myself. It's liquid cooled. It's a custom liquid cooled. Like I said in my intro, I've got two GTX 1080 Ti's and a i7 1770K. The 1770 is overclocked to 5 gigahertz. The video cards are also overclocked, and I get typically temperatures that are about 50 degrees Celsius. And I use Celsius when talking about those because AMD, which tends to be cheaper, both their processors and their GPUs, the AMD cards and CPUs tend to run a little hotter, and they have a hotter safe temperature. So from the way it was explained to me is that, and if the information that I'm giving is incorrect, please don't hesitate to point it out. But the AMD GPUs tend to run at a safer heat that's 10 degrees higher than the NVIDIA cards. The NVIDIA cards run safely at about 70 degrees Celsius, and so AMD cards or the Radeon series and I'm not sure on the numbers. I don't keep up with it enough to understand the numbers for the AMD cards, but I have used them in the past. I don't particularly care for them, mainly because I can't remember what game it was. It was several years ago, but we had an AMD card in our machine, and I changed it out for an NVIDIA card, and everything worked like a charm. Stable frame rates, high quality visuals, things like that were much easier to do. And that may have been because it was a newer card, and I don't remember. I don't remember the exact details. But I do know that the AMD chips, the CPUs are easier. The CPU dies are easier to install on an AMD board because the pins are actually on the CPU and are inserted into little slots on the CPU dock. But the Intel ones, which is what I use, the pins are on the board, and the die has connectors that make contact with those pins to transfer the electricity. So again, and then I'll be more than happy to go through a parts list for my computer if you like. Most of it is Thermaltake. I use a thermal. It's my profile picture. But yeah, I also have a Xbox One. I have a PlayStation 4. I have a Nintendo Switch. I have I do have one of the old one of the consoles that I can't remember the name right off the top of my head, but you can play you can play up to 5 different types of games, 5 different cartridge games. It plays NES, SNES, Sega, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, plays all those, and it puts it on your big screen. Which is really neat to see something that I used to play on a Game Boy on a black and white screen, or a green and white or a green and black screen if you really want to look at it the way it used to look, and then see it put up on a color TV on a big screen. It's out of this world. But yeah, and I also have a Steam link, so if I have a game on Steam that I want to put up on my TV, all I do is link it to the Steam link, and then the link throws it up on the TV as long as I have it on the right input. And I have a wired network because somebody decided it would be funny to war drive in my neighborhood. In case you don't know, war driving is where you drive around the neighborhood and see if you can hack into or crack passwords for people's wireless networks. The only information that is on our wireless networks in the house are cloud data. So, and it's all non-personal stuff that could afford to be that we could afford to be lost, like no bank information or anything like that. I'm not that stupid, but like anything like it, I have a really big problem with the cloud because, yeah. So what if it's a document like my script for this video that I wrote, that's fine. Somebody can have it. I don't care because it's going to be posted on YouTube whenever I get the video cut, which will be shortly. Probably around 1 o'clock this afternoon. But if let's say like my Vudu account, all of my videos, all of my movies are stored on Vudu. That can be taken. I don't have a problem with those things being on the cloud. What I do have a problem with being on the cloud is like personal information like social security numbers, bank accounts, things like that. That's when things get dangerous. I've subscribed to several people that just live stream them calling scam websites and or scam companies and wasting their time. Some people actually get some payback. They get them to click on things that install Trojan horses or things like that. I've seen several that a guy calls this scamming thing, says there's something wrong with his computer. It was the first number that popped up on Google, so he called them, their scam company, and they'll get into his network, or they'll get on his computer via this linking program. I can't exactly remember what the linking programs are called, but it gives the person on the other end control of your computer. And they bait them in with like things on their desktop like bank information or something like that, and they'll go in and they'll take out they'll try and go after all their information and things like that. So and what they do is they link the Trojan horse with those icons, so that as soon as they click on them, they immediately download the Trojan horse. And I've even seen an entire a guy make an entire server go down for the entire business. I'm not sure about this, and if you do know, please let me know. I have heard that the reason why a lot of people in India work for some of these scam companies is they have to pay some sort of tax before they can either get higher education or get a higher paying job or get to a higher level of learning. So if somebody wanted to be, let's say, a lawyer or something, they would have to go through these small little jobs first in order to pay a tax so that they could get that high. I don't know if that's the case. I would love to know. I thought I heard that somewhere on one of these videos where one of the people actually cut in on a phone call that one of the guys was making and told him to be careful because it is a scam. It was a scam, and it turned his life around, and they raised some like $6,000 for this guy to move someplace else and to start a better life for himself. So there are a lot of good people out there. They really are. Anyway, I know that they're clicking. Everybody hates that. I don't quite know how to get rid of that. I'll try to do something in post or something to get rid of it if I can't. Apologies. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the intro. Like I said, I'm an open book, man. Just if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, you can shoot them down at the bottom and I'll at the comment section, and I'll be sure to get to them as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for listening and paying attention and for your time. I know an intro video is not supposed to be this long. This particular voice recording, has been 27 minutes and 18 seconds. So I'll probably edit some of it down. But yeah, y'all have a good day, alright? Take care.